Bills to our left as Dan Reeves in his 11th season in Denver. And what a comeback effort that he has orchestrated this year. Marv Levy at age 63 with an opportunity, he feels, to win that elusive Super Bowl. And the home crowd will be a factor as it seems to accelerate in importance as you move through the playoff period. Only 4 teams of 20 have won on the road in the championship. Al Edwards of North Carolina State. And he's drilled at the 29-yard line by Randy Robbins of Denver. Jim Kelly, who finished second to his teammate Thurman Thomas for the most valuable player in the NFL. Will Wolford, Jim Richard, Kent Hull. Watch Mitch Farrat. He is the reserve, playing for an injured Parker, and Ballard, a giant at right tackle. Kelly has Thurman Thomas, and then Don, B.B. James, Lofton, Andre Reed, 3 wide receivers in that hurry-up offense. Keith McKellar goes out when they try 4 wide, and Edwards, who just returned the kickoff, replaces him. First play of the game is to James Lofton, off his fingertips, incomplete.
They came out with 4 wide receivers that time and started throwing. Remember, they told us they were going to run.
Simon Fletcher, Ron Holmes, Pro Bowler Carl Mecklenburg, and rookie Kenny Walker in the front 4 as they go to a 4-2-5 alignment against that quick offense. And there's the rest of the defense. Of course, the pressure on those defensive backs. And Kelly, hit from the blind side, is charging through with Simon Fletcher. Fletcher, who led the Broncos in sacks again this year, as he has for 4 consecutive years. He had 13.5.
Well, Fletcher, coming from the right side, typically he's on the left side, was totally unblocked. They did not account for him on the outside. Apparently, Wolford thought he had somebody inside he had to block down on. Completely unblocked.
So 3rd and long, and a draw to Thurman Thomas, who struggles to gain his balance and falls at the 23. And the Denver Broncos, who had the top defense in the AFC this year, show it in the first series of downs.
Well, in that skirmish, it was all the Broncos. They kept the pressure on from the standpoint of coverage down the field and the sack itself. And then they took apart the draw play that typically Thomas will get 6 to 8 yards on 3rd down with. So that first skirmish has to be all Denver.
Chris Moore, who grew up in Thompson, Georgia, the hometown of Ray Guy, one of the finalists for the Hall of Fame this year. Moore to punt it. Averaged 38.6 on the season. At the other end is Vance Johnson at the 32. Has an opening and returns to the 45-yard line. So John Elway and the Bronco offense take over in good field position after a 45-yard punt. 13 on the return. And here's the mastermind of last week's great comeback, and Davidson, Farrell, 2 Weidells, and Lanier will block for him. In the backfield, Steve Sewell, all-purpose. Gaston Green, a 1,000-yard rusher in his first season in Denver. Michael Young, the leading Bronco receiver. Rookie Derek Russell, tight end Clarence Kay, and Vance Johnson joins the cast when they go to 3 wideouts. And the crowd going to make it tough on Elway. Give to Green. And Green, former UCLA star, a pickup of 3. Shane Conlon made the tackle. He led the Buffalo in tackles on the season. Leon Seals, Jeff Wright back from injury. Bruce Smith on 1 bad knee. With Bennett brilliant last week. Cornelius Bennett, Shane Conlon, Carlton Bailey, and Darrell Talley are the linebackers for the Bills. Kirby Jackson had a couple of interceptions last week against Kansas City. Odom, Smith, and Kelso, joined by Hicks and Williams in the nickel defense.
Well, Gaston Green on this surface can be devastating, and he can be a major factor. It's very fast, and he's very elusive.
Elway's first throw. Great protection, and he completes his pass to Shannon Sharp, a tight end at the 40 of Buffalo that quiets this crowd for a moment. First down, Broncos.
No pass rush whatsoever. Now, I'm sure Buffalo is looking right now for the run, but Smith is taken apart, and inside, Bennett came inside, and he was collapsed inside. So thus far, very briefly, Denver is in this ball game. It's really good to see. If they can move the ball, in the first quarter, in the first half, we're going to have a great game on our hands.
Fumble as Elway falls on it, but it appeared that a bill had jumped into the offensive line. May have been drawn offside.
Now, Denver, Dick, is trying to work a snap count, a snap count without really saying much other than the word set, and then the ball being snapped. They feel that the sound factor can really disrupt a cadence, so it's a silent snap count related to timing by the offensive line.
Penalty against Denver for illegal procedure.
Ball start on the center, double jerk on the snap, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Dave Weidel had hoped that he could turn the ball just slightly before snapping it, and his offensive lineman would see it. Then when he'd move the ball into position to snap it, they know the snap count would be silent, but coming very quickly. So that has, in a sense, stopped an effect that Denver needed to try to keep continuity in their offense.
On 1st and 15, Elway eludes the blitz of Smith and throws incomplete. Wide open in the center of the field was Vance Johnson, but Elway hurrying and throwing against his body.
Well, the boot pass, we've seen it every week. Denver's famous with Elway coming out after faking left, coming out right. But virtually everybody in the league now has shut that play down. It's been very popular for 3 or 4 years. But you can see a good statistic. On the road, Elway's taken most of his sacks, and it's primarily because of crowd noise and his offensive line being unable to get on track as they'd like to protect Elway. So that's a problem, and this noise is engulfing everybody.
Under center, 2nd and 15. The give is to Steve Sewell, who gets the 5 yards back. They lost on the penalty, and it'll be 3rd and 10. Carlton Bailey and Leonard Smith make the tackle.
Steve Sewell will be in the lineup on any passing down. He's having his best year. The guy out of Reardon High School in San Francisco, played at Oklahoma. Excellent 3rd down football player. Fine receiver, and excellent with the trap or the draw.
Elway tries it from the shotgun.
Now this is the test, and the crowd is on their feet.
Especially tough on those tackles. Elway down the middle. It's deflected and dropped by Kelso. Mark Kelso had it flop right into his lap, unable to pull it in.
Mark Jackson was uncovered and wide open. And Kelso got almost lucky to get the interception.
Clifford Hicks, the man who seemed to deflect the pass, number 27.
You'll see the snap count and the ball being put in the air. Atwater blitz. There it is, right there.
Clifford Hicks, number 27.
If you bring enough people, Dick, somebody's going to be unblocked. And Elway will figure that out from the standpoint who it will be from down to down.
Mike Moran aiming for that coffin corner, and he catches it. How good was the kick? They mark it at the 10, 11. They're still going with it. Quarter, the first, but as we have seen, especially powerful from there on, and they're scoring by quarter on the season, and slow last week early against Kansas City.
Well, I'll tell you another thing, Dick. Early on, Kelly's calling his own plays, and a year ago he was scoring early, but now he's deciphering, in a sense, and figuring out the defense as he goes along. It takes him 2 or 3 series to get it done. But now here against Denver, just fair to average stats. Denver does play good defense. Elway's got the big name and the Denver offense, but this Denver defense, with Wade Phillips as the director of it, has done a beautiful job all year. Much improved.
And defending Kelly in his view of the 3 games. Up the middle goes Thurman Thomas, the outstanding player from scrimmage in the National Football League the last 3 years, leading with his yardage compiled as a receiver and rusher, and another powerful season for this 4th year back from Oklahoma State.
And there they are again, right at the line of scrimmage, giving Denver no breathing room.
And 2nd down, it's Thomas again drawing the crowd and short yardage out to about the 18-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and 4.
to number. There's Wade Phillips, and he is now signaling, and hopefully most of his players see that signal. But again, Mecklenburg will call it out, as will Dennis Smith, to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Here comes a blitz from the outside.
Dennis Smith doesn't get there, and the pass incomplete to Don Beebe. Beebe covered by Charles Dimry. So 3 and out again.
Dennis Smith timed it perfectly. He snuck up, and was on the line of scrimmage when the ball snapped, totally unblocked. Now, that hit is questionable. You just shouldn't have that going on in the NFL. But he's got to do the damage whenever he gets a chance. 2 people to watch for, Dick. Number 27, Steve Atwater. 49, Dennis Smith. Whenever the Bills have the ball, the 2 safety men are the key to the Denver defense.
Chris Moore kicking with the wind at his back. Vance Johnson deep in Denver territory. This is another beautiful spiral. Johnson at the 36-yard line. Breaks 1 tackle of Henry Jones and is out to the 49. So Denver again starts near midfield. No score. First quarter, 10 minutes to go. Magnificent Niagara Falls, some 25 miles as the crow flies from Rich Stadium, where the Denver Broncos scoreless here in the first period. Denver now with its second possession. Buffalo unable to make a first down in its first 2. A little delay, and drilled in the backfield was Gaston Green by Cornelius Bennett.
Bennett is unblocked. He moves so quickly that Sharp cannot stay with him. Now, this guy, Dick, I've seen a lot of football players in my career, and I'm sure Bill Parcells is watching the same thing. Cornelius Bennett is as quick as a man has ever been playing that position. He can start outside and end up inside, and an accomplished blocker isn't quick enough to respond. He's at his very best right now.
He whipped Shannon Sharp easily on that play for a loss of 4. 2nd and 14. Elway downfield. Incomplete to Sharp, who was open, and I believe a flag has gone down.
You get 1 chance during the game with a play like that. The next time it's run, it will be covered. You just get 1 shot, and Elway overthrew it. Now, maybe there may be a penalty involved with it, an infraction, but the play itself, those special plays, you hold up and you time it, you call it at just the right time, then you overthrow, and the play's wasted.
No flag. Apparently they picked it up. 3rd and 14. Here they come. Elway dumps it off, complete to Sewell. Breaks 1 tackle, now in the clear at the 40, and hit from behind at the 34-yard line by Leonard Smith. First down, Denver.
A well-timed screen play again to Sewell is very, very well done. Really, in this particular case, as we get a look at it, the blockers really don't get there. Now, you see the blockers come out a little bit late, but Sewell will have to make people miss. But he gets a full blitz, and outside Sewell comes. Really, the coverage is way over here, so Sewell has a lot of room to run. Every time you blitz in a championship game, you're taking a chance on ending the season right there. These teams are all too good to take on much blitzing.
First down at the 34, and hit as soon as he takes the handoff is Green again as Darryl Talley and others in on the stop. 56 Talley on his way to the Pro Bowl.
Talley unblocked coming from the outside. You'll see him right in front of him. He angles down inside. Now, you typically don't expect an outside linebacker to be willing to start up the field and angle right down along the line of scrimmage. When you see that, the coaches upstairs are looking for a bootleg, a quarterback keep, something that fakes inside and then gets the quarterback outside on Talley.
2nd and 11, Dan Reeves in his 42nd playoff game as a player, assistant coach, and head coach. And trying to get to his 9th Super Bowl. Leon Seals, number 96.
They're going to have to run, unfortunately, at Bruce Smith and at Talley. To the right side, they've got Cornelius Bennett sitting over there, and everybody's concerned about him. That time, Seals took Lanier apart. And so that side of the offensive line is going to have real problems. Go left, you've got a man that's hurting, just playing with heart in Bruce Smith.
First down at the 34. The first play lost a yard. They lose 5 more on that one. 3rd and 16.
A drift pass to the outside.
Elway, lots of time.
Got to get rid of it.
And finally brought down by Jeff Wright.
Elway wanted to throw to his far left. He wanted to roll right, hold the ball, then throw far left, and he just took way too much time. Took too much time in trying to get it done.
Yeah, the coverage was terrific. Couldn't find an open white shirt.
Just couldn't get it done. But it was really his fault all the way. Just a little bit reckless holding the ball that long.
Clifford Hicks is deep as Horan sends an end-over-end punt. That takes a Buffalo bounce and still rolling in the Bills' favor out to the 24-yard line. 6:29 remaining in the first scoreless period. Denver's formula, last to first. Touchdown scored last year when they went 5 for 11, 32, and they scored 32 touchdowns this year. But all the Broncos will tell you it's the defense that has gotten them into the playoffs. And look at that number: 43 scores allowed last year, but 22 this season.
There's such a marked difference from 5-11 to a championship game, and it's every one of the offensive players in Denver to a man will say it's our defense that made the difference.
Buffalo without a first down. Has the ball for the 3rd time. That's Tim Lucas as Thomas breaks that tackle and charges forward to the 28-yard line. Atwater and Smith, the 2 safety men, finally get Thompson down.
Lucas blitzed and again was unblocked. Nobody came near him. He's right in front of us. You see a clean shot. Now look at that man's balance. That's amazing. He can take a shot on the leg, keep his feet, good wide base, and keep moving.
Could have lost 2 games for him. Flipped into the air and wasn't intercepted by Cragen. A miraculous try, and it is Denver's ball. Greg Cragen caught that one like an outfielder.
Denver is really getting pushed. Ball coming right at us, and there's Cragen. Now, Cragen was stunning outside. Wasn't really a factor, but he was so quick in responding to what he saw. Bats the ball, turns around, and then the ball in the air. These are always a problem when that ball goes straight up in the air, that one of the linemen will find it.
Ron Holmes, number 90, deflected the ball, and Cragen, a 265-pound nose guard, able to make that basket catch. So the ball at the 29-yard line. The Broncos' first turnover. And here it is again. This is a miraculous play by a man. You expect this kind of agility and effort out of a defensive back, not a nose guard. Look at this. Almost blindly. How'd he even see it? Elway, the handoff to Green. And he's caught from behind by Cornelius Bennett. Now, if you want more evidence of the speed of this 238-pound linebacker, Bennett from the other side of the field catching Gaston Green.
Now, Bennett has that quickness. He can come right back down the line of scrimmage. But I must say, Denver's going where they should with a running game. They're running to their left, away from him. What they need to do is bring a wide receiver in tight or someone to control Bennett on the backside of the play, then run left. Crushed at the 30. Cornelius Bennett again. Well, people are blitzing, Dick, and I can't believe it. And both clubs are having problems with it. They must not expect this defensive tactic. Now, you see Bennett come to the inside. That was Seals who really made everything get started. But on that right side, I'm telling you, Lanier and Wydell are having their problems. But the blitzes are having an impact in this ball game. Sure, they should continue them. If you can get something out of them early, do it, but late it could mean your ball game. One big play. Elway in trouble again, gets it away, incomplete. Intended for Green. Well covered by the Bills' Darryl Talley. Bruce Smith was the man putting pressure on Elway. Boy, these are attacking only chance they can get there before one of these great receivers can break open deep down the field. And what I think may be happening is that special plays designed just for this game, for the other team, and vice versa, have been attempted, and they've been running right into blitzes and blowing up right in the face of the quarterback.
47-yard attempt by David Treadwell into the wind. It is no good. Hook to the left. There is a flag on the play. And Buffalo cheers. It is against Denver, so undoubtedly declined. And that interception
Holding
by Cragen.
Number 88 on the offense. Penalty is declined. First down.
Does not produce any points. Buffalo denies with 4:41 left in the opener. With a last-place schedule, many felt Denver had some soft spots in 1991 to account for their big comeback. But Buffalo, look, their opponents had a worse percentage of wins than Denver's. Vernon Thomas on first down, and the flags go down as Thomas tackled a yard shy of the line of scrimmage. Carl Mecklenburg, the veteran Pro Bowler, number 77, in on the stop.
Both these clubs are exploding defensively. The surface is just right for them. Good traction.
We have two
They can
fouls on the play, both against the offense. Holding number 59 is declined. Holding number 51 is accepted. 10 yards, still first down.
So Mitch Farrat and Jim Richard, the two guards, both guilty, and they take the veteran Richards penalty, and it's 10 yards against Buffalo.
Carl Mecklenburg, playing inside now where he belongs as an inside linebacker, is a major force in this Denver defense, because when he attacks, he's big enough that he can take the guard apart, and he's quick enough to get there before the ball gets to his outside.
First and 20 for Kelly. To Lofton, complete at the 32-yard line. Charles Dimry up from a corner to make the tackle after a gain of 11.
The play was there. Now this is the best of football. Beautiful pattern by Lofton. The ball's thrown high, but look at the shots. Steve Atwater gets there just an instant late. Now that's the best of football. Beautiful execution offensively and defensively.
Draw to Thomas. And he pulls his way to the 37-yard line, where it'll be 3rd and 3. Mecklenburg and Brooks in on the stop.
Well, we've gone most of a quarter, and Buffalo is yet to threaten. So Denver, you'd have to say at this point in the game, is sure as heck holding their own at least.
For the first down, and they may get it on a penalty as Kelly pulled back from center. We'll see whether Howard Ballard helped to draw the defense offside.
Prior to the snap, number 75, 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
And when Ballard moves, the house does draw attention. He's 6'6" and 340.
Well, Ballard's got a problem because he's got Fletcher sitting over there on his side. Oh, it looks as though they're going to run a running play in the opposite direction. But they're moving Simon Fletcher around, and he is a devastating pass rusher. He's got he's got 13 and a half sacks in regular season play.
One today. 3rd and 7. Kelly has the first down at the 41-yard line to the tight end, Keith McKellar.
Well, a week ago, McKellar was catching the ball and getting a chance to run. Now Kelly has to be perfect. He gets him the ball, and look, the instant he gets it, bang, from either side. He's got Atwater and Mecklenburg catching him just perfectly. In other words, you can't live on that play very long.
Here comes Thomas. Pushes outside, and he's into Denver territory at the 49-yard line.
Well, Thomas bounced a play that was designed to go inside, and he moves to the outside to make it work. And this is what concerned Denver, because as you'll see, you'll get a pulling guard, a pulling tackle. The play's designed to go in here, but watch it get to the outside. Everybody's responding to the blockers and failing to account for the great instincts that Thomas can show us.
It's 2nd and 1, and Thomas fighting for the yard and a first down. Mecklenburg and Warren Powers in on the stop.
Again, Thomas ready to bounce it. He sees all that trouble inside. Everybody's stacked up. He'll start jumping outside, and with that speed, he can be devastating. So the safety men or the perimeter defenders really have to be alert and not underestimate his ability to get out there and then outrun them to the sideline.
Close enough for a measurement at the 49. Now to the 2:16 mark of this opening quarter. No score. And Buffalo another first down.
A good look at the two people we pointed out, Steve Atwater and Dennis Smith. Now you'll see this support right into the play almost immediately. Now watch Atwater come from that safety position and actually get to the line of scrimmage to make the stop. So these two big, powerful safeties of Denver are going to be all over the field today, and they're the guys that are going to take on Thomas.
And if Davis gives Thomas a blow, and it's Davis with a carry, protecting the ball as he drives for a couple up the middle. Mike Kroll, the brilliant rookie, back in for Denver. But it was Michael Brooks and Mecklenburg in on the stop. There's Kroll from Nebraska. He was the 4th player picked in the draft, and a solid one for the Broncos. He had 10 sacks, led all NFL rookies, and 4 forced fumbles to lead Denver. Very fast, 4.4 speed. A dump off to Davis. Guess who makes another tackle? Mecklenburg, his 5th of the game.
Now that was what we call a fast screen, in which Kelly will know that there'll be an unblocked man if he blitzes from the outside. And in this particular case, Kelly just demonstrated why he's a champion. He took the shot and threw the ball.
James Lofton is being attended on the near sideline, so Hal Edwards, 85, in at his spot. On the Denver 44. Batted in the air and almost caught by Farrat. Since it had been batted by a Denver player, he could have caught that ball and run with it, but his instinct was to drop it like a hot potato. And it is 4th down for Buffalo. Farrat, who has very long hair, he tucks his hair into his shoulder pads. Sampson.
Now you have to give a lot of credit to Wade Phillips' defense. These guys are penetrating, but they're keeping their eye on the quarterback. And Craig, in this case, again times it and gets that hand up just at the right moment. So a combination of athletic ability, but the coaching itself and bringing that out of the players.
Chris Moore's 3rd punt, dying in the air and bounding to Carlton Bailey, who touches it at the 24. Denver begins from that spot. Boy, what a weekend on NBC Sports next Saturday and Sunday. And on Sunday, we have 3 treats for you. First, an NBA doubleheader. That's about as close as those two guys will get. Michael and Isaiah. And then it'll be Portland and Phoenix with Clyde the Glide against the brilliant Kevin Johnson of the Suns. And then the Bob Hope final round of that Desert Classic. Lofton apparently taking a blow in the nose. No score. Final minute, first quarter. Elway from his 24. A little draw. And that's Green showing his speed, and he was one player from a touchdown. It was Mark Kelso. If he gets by Kelso, he has the speed to go the distance.
Nobody was going to catch him. He was on his way. And Kelso, this is the free safety's job to make the clean tackle when he's one-on-one. You'll see Kelso come from the screen, moving his feet, keeping his head up, and grabbing something. He had to get a hold of something.
Green's longest run, 19 yards and a first down for Denver. So the Bronco offense has moved the ball, and their defense has been tougher than expected by the Buffalo fans as we come to the end of this first period. Elway guns complete, and it's Vance Johnson out of bounds at the Buffalo 48-yard line with 4 seconds left in the quarter.
That's all timing. Elway takes 5 steps, throws off his right foot. You'll see the crossover by Johnson, the ball there, and then Johnson using his skills to stay in bound before stepping out of bounds. But that's all timing, and that's the kind of thing you see these guys do year after year, training camp after training camp. If it's there, they take it.
Ball goes out of bounds. They wind the clock, and that is the end of the quarter as the Denver Broncos heighten hopes in Rocky Mountain country with their performance in the first. Welcome back to Western New York and Buffalo. Actually, Orchard Park here as we pull into Rich Stadium. It's been home sweet home here for the Bills. They're 33-3 in the last 36 games. They had a 17-game winning streak here until the Detroit overtime loss in the final game of the regular season. No score as Elway goes to work. First down, and it's Green. Little delay, and then he punches off the left side to the 43.
Well, both clubs really must respect each other. That time, Leonard Smith, the strong safety, tried to blitz from the outside. The play went the other way, but he was going to be there in any case. And so you can see him sneaking up and then blitzing, but of course the play is going to break to the other side. Now you see the fullback lead, and then the tailback followed it right inside. Green following his fullback inside.
They spotted at the 44. They bring linebackers again, and Green is hit after a yard pickup. And as they unpile, credit the tackle to Shane Patrick Conlon.
You don't know when, Dick, either team will finally relax and begin to execute. Both are so hyper at this point that the defenses are disrupting both offenses. There isn't any real continuity offensively by either club. At some point, you'd assume one club or the other is going to relax, settle down, and begin to execute.
Pretty even. Denver 48 total yards, Buffalo 43. Shotgun Elway on third down along 5, and he's got his man over the middle for a first down. It's Michael Young who caught 44 on the regular season to lead the Broncos. Now, Michael Young and Gaston Green, two former Los Angeles Rams who have found life in the Mile High City. Look at that, 3 years with the Rams. Gaston Green had only 451 yards. He had 1,000 this year. And down to the bottom, Michael Young, 4 years with the Rams, used sparingly, 35 catches. This year alone, 44.
They tease each other. Both sat together on the bench for the Rams. Watch the game for 60 minutes.
Elway off play action, going deep for Johnson, and it's intercepted. Kirby Jackson, who had 2 last week, gets 1 today.
It just wasn't there. It just wasn't there. Jackson was right with this. Excellent technique. You see just a little bit of a weave by Johnson, but Jackson's inside his receiver in perfect position. Uh-oh, that may call for a replay.
Now they're going to have to review that one.
They're going to have to take a look.
The ball clearly hit the ground. We're going to stay here. We're not going to commercial. It appears here that Kirby Jackson did not catch this cleanly. He has it there, but as he comes out.
It comes out.
Definitely.
It comes out. And I'm sure they'll look at it.
With an interception, the play is being reviewed.
So if it is overruled, that would bring up a 4th down in punting position for Denver. Actually, they might rather have this interception. The ball's on the 2-yard line. You're not going to kick it much better than that.
They've got the field position they want.
Actually, the overrule might help Buffalo more than Denver. Kirby Jackson, meanwhile, celebrating, however briefly, his 3rd interception of the playoffs.
After further review, we have a reversal. The pass was incomplete. Still first down Elway.
They'll get another chance. Excellent coverage. He just couldn't hold on to the ball. It was too much to ask. He had to twist his body all the way around and catch a football. But that previous play was a play pass designed to fool Jackson, and he was not fooled. He was in perfect position.
So 4th down and about 8. Well, they have a 4th down marker up. And a first down over here. Well, it can't be both, and it certainly isn't first down. Now 3rd down is the call.
Yeah, he naturally gets the down over, of course.
No, an incomplete pass, and it moves the yard 6 ahead. So that was a second down play. Excuse me. Second down. So now third down for Denver. So it indeed helps the Broncos, the reversal. Officials, after the confusion, they're going to meet and discuss upstairs to make sure that a down wasn't lost in the whole process.
So it was simply an incomplete pass, and they move it on. I don't know why they would have to discuss that.
Now the first down and
for the placement of the ball.
Now checking back. First down was the incomplete pass. They had just made a first down on the Michael Young pass. So now it is a second down. The first down was the incomplete pass.
There's the play fake. Now you'll see the ball being thrown down the field.
On the 36-yard line.
Should be second down.
Second and 10. At the 36-yard line. So the Broncos benefit from the reversal on the call. Kirby Jackson, who thought he had the interception at the 2, but the evidence was clear that the ball had hit the ground. And now Elway has it at the 36, and Dale Hamer, the referee, going to be absolutely certain of the down and the spot of the ball, which of course the review official can help him with in looking at our tapes.
Well, Elway had gone for it as planned on first down, and he got the wrong defense. But now people have to start thinking 3 points at this point in the game. Someone's going to have to get some points here pretty quick. So expect some rather conservative play calling to get in position for a field goal at this point.
Michael Young had caught the 8-yard pass for a first down that took the ball to the Buffalo 36-yard line, and on first down the incomplete pass.
It'll be second down, 10.
And that is where we stand at the 36. Broncos have an intercepted pass but missed on a 47-yard field goal, but they've moved the ball into Buffalo territory on most every possession.
Well, they're not going to let them play for a minute here. They must be talking about spotting the ball. That would be the only consideration.
The yardsticks are at the 37. I believe Young got to the 36. Well, they've lost a yard in the process. It's second and 10, but they lost a yard. Steve Sewell unable to wiggle free from the grasp of Leon Seals and Shane Conlon.
Again, both outside linebackers blitz. They played man-to-man defense. Both clubs are going after each other, and this surprises me in a game like this. But at this point, there isn't any score, so you can't argue with them.
Seals and Conlon come out. Mike Lodish in to rush the passer, and an extra defensive back, Clifford Hicks.
Now this noise is deafening, and no one could hear Elway if he talked.
He dumps it off to Sewell, who has one blocker, wiggles outside, and then meets a crowd of blue shy of a first down at about the 31-yard line.
Now that was a screen pass with a single offensive lineman coming down the line of scrimmage to be ready to block the man that was covering Sewell. But defensively, it was taken away totally.
On 4th and 4. Dan Reeves brings in 2 tight ends, apparently going to go for it at the 31 of Buffalo.
Well, he must be very confident off looking at previous tapes with the play that he wants to use here. He must feel he can get it right here.
Full house backfield with Elway in the shotgun, and Buffalo calls time. May have had too many men on the field. You saw Mike Lodish come in very late, and Darryl Talley spends a timeout. It comes with 12:03 in a confusing second quarter. Surprising score in Buffalo. No score. 12:03 left in the first half. 4th down and 4. Dan Reeves going for it. Different personnel this time. He took out the tight ends and goes with a single back. Vance Johnson in motion. And offside, charges number 91, Jeff Wright. Was he drawn off?
They were preparing to blitz again. They were bringing extra people.
Coachman, number 91 of the defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
And Jeff Wright was going to attempt to clear the way for a blitzer to come inside him. You'll see him move right here. And he was going to angle to the inside to allow a blitzer to come slipping right up into that hole, and didn't quite get there.
You see Clifford Hicks, 27, slipping in from the secondary to follow Wright, and a first down on the penalty that doesn't please Marv Levy. So that might even have been part of the design for Denver, figuring 4th and 4. It's too long for a field goal. Treadwell's longest is 49. That would have been 48. And a punt. Well, let's see if we can get a penalty first down. And the Broncos work it to the 27.
Elway's going along to his linemen, each one of them telling them the play, the audible, and probably the snap count.
And the give straight ahead. Aston Green runs into Jeff Wright, 91.
That Wright is some football player. Gee, is he having a great year. He can really do everything. He's a good pass rusher, but he can handle the double team as typified in the NFL, in which 2 men will attempt to block him, then one of them leave to block the linebacker. He takes care of both of them and still holds his ground.
Injured in the first game of the regular season against Miami, missed the first half of the year, and part of the problem stopping the rush incurred by Buffalo. And this is Steve Sewell on that little swing pass, and Carlton Bailey finally rides him out of bounds, but not until Sewell gets to the 15-yard line.
Well, a play pass finally throwing to a back out of the backfield. You'll see Sewell, number 30, really avoiding people, trying to give the impression he's about to initiate a block and then releasing. Sewell is a great utility man in a sense, Dick. He can play outside as a flanker, which he's done in the past. He can be an excellent reverse man. He's a good blocker. He's been injury prone, but he's so versatile they use him in these kinds of situations.
First down outside the 15. Deepest penetration by either team, and it's Gaston Green getting 5 before Cornelius Bennett can get on his heels with help from the secondary. That was the 11th play of this Dan Reeves directed drive.
Doug Wydell and Sean Farrell are doing an excellent job as offensive guards inside. They're sustaining their blocks, and their position is excellent as they initiate the blocks, which gives the ball carrier somewhere to go.
The Wydells, only the 6th time in NFL history, brothers playing, in essence, the same position on the same team. Uh-oh, fumble Elway, and who's got it? Elway recovered himself.
Well, and you wonder whether Dave Wydell, playing now really for the first time this year, any length of time, in place of Keith Karch, whether that exchange is a good one. You see, Elway never had the ball. He came up with half a football.
But alert enough to be able to find it and scrape it into his body.
And Wydell has got Jeff Wright sitting right on his nose every play.
So the loss back to the 16-yard line, 3rd and 10 and a half.
Now the linemen are exchanging with each other. That's the only possible communication.
Elway sacked as he's tripped up from behind. It appeared to be Bruce Smith. And how long it's been for Smith. He had only 1.5 sacks this year. Injured with that bad knee. Just got a piece of Elway from the backside.
Well, you'll see Smith Smith coming upfield and Elway not stepping forward to avoid him. And so Elway spoke to us last night about he knows he has to step forward. You see the people on the outside, and Elway was so involved down the field that he lost track of Smith. And that's amazing that Smith can get that done with that knee problem.
That makes it a 42-yard field goal attempt by Treadwell with the wind. It is no good. Hit the upright. Temperature in the low 40s as we look down from our helicopter. These aerial photos brought to you courtesy of Pennzoil Motor Oil. Missed field goal, and Kelly starts from his 25. Downfield to Lofton, incomplete, almost intercepted. Broken up by Wyman Henderson, and Steve Atwater, 27, had his hands on it.
Well, I haven't, and I know you haven't either, Dick, seen every Buffalo game this year. But this is by far the most competition I've seen them get. Remember a year ago, the Raider game here, and Kansas City. Well, this is a head-to-head ball game. Denver's not conceding an inch.
Well, the Bears gave him trouble early, but Buffalo at the half taking charge, and then one easily in the second half. Nothing much there for Thurman Thomas. I'd like to go back to the David Treadwell missed field goal that hit the upright. Denver had driven to the 11-yard line, fairly easy field goal range, but remember the fumble lost 5 on the snap, and then Bruce Smith's sack was another 8, so they kicked with a line of scrimmage to 24, which made it a 42-yard field goal instead of a 28-yard field goal. On third down, Kelly, incomplete, no one there. And again, Kelly and the offense for Buffalo unable to move against this Denver defense.
Well, how many times this year have we done broadcasts and reminded the viewers of the quarterback's sack on third down that cost a team a field goal? So many times.
Kelly now 3 for 9. One interception.
With an interception, right.
More to punt. Vance Johnson back at the 28 of Denver.
Well, Denver has to be heartened. People in Denver watching the game, but more importantly, the Denver team. They now know they can play right there head-to-head with Buffalo.
Johnson on the run at the 40. And returns to the 50-yard line. Short punt, well played by Vance Johnson. 33-yard kick, 10 on the return. Timeout. Back at beautiful Rich Stadium, where the Bills set another record as the most attended home team, close to 80,000 average on the regular season. From midfield, no score. It's Elway going to work again. A middle screen to Sewell at the 45-40. And he is inside the 25-yard line. Good,
beautiful job up inside. Beautiful screen. All 3 inside people were right on the money as far as their blocking, the timing. This is the kind of thing. You'll see all 3 of these people inside release late. Elway's going to draw people toward them. You see Sewell actually block a man. Now you see each one of them is assigned a given defender. They all know just where they're going. And Sewell is proving to be a critical factor in this ballgame.
And again to the 24 of 26 yards. In field goal range again. Sewell drilled by Bennett. Cornelius Bennett. I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that Bennett has never received a game ball in all of his career here at Buffalo.
Well,
that's hard to believe.
In NBC ball, look at this. He comes right in underneath a tight end who wanted to block him. Now, I can't figure it out. First time in many years I've seen a championship game where both clubs are selling out, blitzing on defense, and the lack of respect for the outside receivers. They're out there one-on-one, and they're not getting the ball to them.
Bennett, however, was lauded by his coach last week as there's a reverse to Vance Johnson, and that didn't fool anyone, especially Cornelius Bennett chasing him across the field. Levy on Monday said he called up Bennett, and Praiskin said in his 5 years he's never seen anyone play any better than Bennett did against Kansas City.
Bennett's game has totally changed since Jeff Wright and Bruce Smith were injured earlier. Bennett had to pick up all the slack. They moved him inside on occasion and exchanged him with Conlon, made him an inside linebacker. He had to work on his pass rush techniques. He's so much different a ball player now than he was a year ago.
Third and long. 6 minutes plus left in the first half. No score. Elway shotgun. A draw for Elway. And look at Elway inside the 20 to the 19 won't be enough. That'll leave him 5 yards shy of a first down, but puts Treadwell closer for the field goal upcoming. The
Reeves wanted the 3 points, Dick. Dan Reeves wanted to get on that scoreboard. That was the safest play he could run. He knew he'd get part of it at least, and maybe get a little bit lucky and get the first down. But now they're in the middle of the field, excellent position to get themselves at least on the board.
37 yards this time, the shortest of the 3 attempts. It's to the right again and hit the upright again. Oh, my!
The same kick.
What are the odds on a man able to hit 2 in a row, hit the upright? Well, Buffalo loves it, as Treadwell has missed now from 47, 42, and this heartbreaker from 37.
Well, he's not going to get many more chances.
In a game where
sooner or later, the Bills are going to come alive.
Buffalo with only 2 first downs. They had 29 against Kansas City last week. Looks like a procedure penalty there. A flag down. It goes to Beebe. And the little guy from Saban State with his first catch pays for it. Looked as if there was movement on the right side of the Buffalo line.
Well, we assumed that the offensive line of Denver would have problems because of crowd noise. I doubt that it's crowd noise affecting Buffalo, but in this particular case, that kills them.
Offense, the right end, moved.
So instead of a gain of about 8, a 5-yard penalty, someone lined on that right side leaned forward on the snap. And Treadwell being consoled on the Bronco sidelines, as we have seen Scott Norwood, the Buffalo kicker, receiving that treatment out at the Raiders, remember, where the Buffalo Bills came from well behind, and Norwood finally kicked one in overtime to win it at the Coliseum. Kelly on 1st and 15, under pressure, and incomplete. Atwater drilled. Lofton. Atwater coming up and timing his hit.
We talked about the safeties, and are they playing? Now, they can get burnt sooner or later behind them, but Steve Atwater, number 27, in a zone defense. Look at him attack James Lofton. Timed it perfectly. And those are the patterns that have really been hurting opponents. Buffalo on shallow crosses, taking people apart. They haven't done it yet today.
On 2nd and 15 toward the sidelines to Lofton, but again, Atwater was there in the short zone, so Kelly had to loft it high over his head, and therefore high out of bounds.
Well, that was not a good throw.
Atwater
did get his deep out.
As you see, the son of Bum, Wade Phillips, signal in the defense. Atwater and Smith, both these safeties go to the Pro Bowl this year. There's a lot of good ones at that position, but this is the best pair.
Wade Phillips, by the way, has turned into one of the great technicians in the game of football.
3rd and 15, a screen to Thomas, and some blockers. But then the defense closes in at the 20-yard line. A gain of only 5. Wyman Henderson, number 24, first to get there, and Buffalo will punt again.
Greg Cragen, out of the nose position, felt the lineman leaving on the screen, and he went right out there with him. He was waiting right with them. And that's the toughest thing about the screen pass. Defensive linemen can recognize the pass techniques on a screen, and they can go right out with the lineman as they leave.
Broncos out playing highly favored Buffalo thus far in the half, but still no score as Vance Johnson waits at midfield. Moore sends a beauty. Fair catch. Johnson back at the 31-yard line. A terrific kick of 49 yards. No return. Off in the distance, Lake Erie. So look at the first 5 possessions for the Broncos. A couple of punts, and then they had 3 chances to score. But this is from Treadwell's foot of 47, 42, and 37 yards. Now they begin from their 32-yard line. Denver's compiled 8 first downs to Buffalo's 2. Elway, a delay to Green. Just Gaston Green to the 34-yard line. On the sidelines, the man that Green replaced, Bobby Humphrey from Alabama, who had rushed for 1,000 yards in each of his first 2 years with Denver, a #1 pick, then held out. Didn't arrive till very late and into the season, into October, and Dan Reeves used him very sparingly. He carried the ball only 11 times for 33 yards, not in uniform today. He's healthy. It's just at this point, Reeves said, hadn't played enough. I don't know if I can trust him. He might fumble. I'll stay with the men who got me here.
Well, Gaston Green's having a sensational year.
On 2nd down and 8. Elway on the roll. In trouble. Breaks 2 tackles. Still no one open. Now he throws and finds his receiver at the 47-yard line. It's Shannon Sharp, the younger brother of Sterling, the outstanding receiver of the Green Bay Packers.
I don't know to this day how Elway gets away with this. Look at him. He's going to roll all the way left. The play's designed to be out here. Now he avoids superior athletes. And he's not that fast at this stage of his career. And he can still find somebody and hit them. And my guess is right now, Dick, Elway can hardly break 5 flat in a 40, and yet he can make these great athletes missing. There's an instinct there that's so rare.
That was Bruce Smith and Cornelius Bennett that ran into each other trying to tackle him. The quickie outside to Sewell. He gets to the 50. A short pickup of 4. Shane Conlon. Speed Odoms on the tackle.
Well, the one thing they can do is get the ball to Sewell for not much, but they might be able to control the ball. Now, there was Conlon, who, by the way, has had a great season. People were really surprised that Shane did not make the Pro Bowl. Although he made it a year ago, this was by far his best season as a linebacker, as a professional.
I guess with Bennett and Talley, his linebacker teammates making it, it was tough to vote for 3 Bills, but Conlon certainly deserving. The clock, 2:30 left in the half. 2nd down and 7.
Sewell again.
And he dives to the 46-yard line, and it was Cornelius Bailey hawking Elway as he threw, and then Bailey downfield. Carlton Bailey making the tackle as we approach the 2-minute timeout. Sewell now with 5 catches, 67 yards. To be admired, as is his 31-inch waist, a 210-pounder, Steve Sewell. The 2-minute timeout. And if you're just joining us at Bridge Stadium in Buffalo, that score will have to stun you a bit. No score. In fact, the only serious opportunities have come when Denver has driven into Buffalo territory. They've missed on that 3 straight field goals by David Treadwell, all makeable from 47, 42, and 37. And they're in Buffalo territory again. A 3rd and 2. Fumble. And Sewell has fallen on it at the 47-yard line, shy of the 1st down.
Now, was the ball snapped to Sewell? It looked as though it was a draw play with a direct snap going to Sewell on the right. Now, he's taken his... That's the tough thing about that kind of football. We had developed that with the 49ers and always had the problem. The ball carrier wants to see the blocking, and meanwhile, here comes a ball toward him from the center. If he takes his eye off it, as Sewell just did, you've got a fumble.
Put it right in the helmet.
Yeah, he wanted you know, that's tough running inside against Buffalo. And he wanted to see where he would go when he got the ball.
The Broncos taking as much time as they can before the punt by Horan, so the clock is now down to 1:10. And they'll even take the 5-yard delay of game to spend all that time. So Buffalo not using a timeout. Remember, they had to spend one earlier in the half. And so Buffalo with 2 timeouts and 1:08 as they expect this punt from Horan. There's the expert on World War II history, Marv Levy, his idol Winston Churchill. And he has to be a bit back on his heels here at the defense of the opposition. What are they doing to stop this Bills high?
Well, everybody, when I say all the people available are slamming into that line of scrimmage on defense. Both clubs are using the same tactic that should leave wide receivers chances to maneuver down the field. Neither club's been able to get the ball down the field, something that both of them have done very well over the years, especially the Buffalo Bills.
Clifford Hicks deep as Horan will kick from just inside his 40. Beautiful high punt, fair catch Hicks. at the Buffalo 13-yard line with Shannon Sharp right in his face. A reminder, at the conclusion of today's game, we'll be presenting the Keystone Beer Player of the Game. Well, they're in the spirit in Buffalo, and at halftime we'll have all the crew from NFL Live. Pleased that they're here with us at Rich Stadium to analyze the first half, as Bob is joined by Will Bill and one of the Buffalo Bills heroes, O.J. Simpson. Has O.J. stopped signing autographs yet? I'd just like to have a quarter for everyone he signed this weekend.
He ran out of people at our hotel and went to the next one.
Did he? Just hang around the lobby. It's amazing how you'll be known.
They don't know him by face now. All he knows that voice, that big, deep voice.
It was inside to Thomas across the 15-yard line. And the clock is running. And apparently Marv Levy with the ball so deep in his own end. Now it's going to be Denver that's going to call the timeout, with 53 seconds left in the half. Buffalo's high-octane attack has gone to regular, very regular, as the Denver defense has stopped them, holding Buffalo to 2 first downs, only 53 yards total in this first half. Thurman Thomas. Is he hit by Dennis Smith, the other safety.
Smith, Dick. Did you see that? I mean, that's a la Ronnie Lott. Of course, both of them, Ronnie Lott and Dennis, played on the same USC football team. But listen. Oh, that's a hit.
That'll make your
That is a major hit. And according to Wade Phillips, he's gotten more of those this year than ever in his career. Now, that may mean brain damage or something. I don't know. But he's selling out, just selling out into that line of scrimmage. And we spoke of both safeties being the key factors, because when they hit, they stop it.
He's the oldest of the Denver defenders at 32. He had 5 interceptions, his career high this year. He's always forced a lot of fumbles because of hits like that. And I think he's pleased that he's finally playing safety. One of the reasons Dennis Smith, and his eyes are a little watery too after that hit. One of the reasons why Dennis Smith is so highly regarded around the league is he's a safety that has played really a cornerback. He's been asked to do a lot of man coverage on a wide receiver in his career because of his speed.
Yeah, in his early part of his career, yeah, he got banged a little there himself. Woo!
So it is.
But earlier in his career, he was having to play like the third corner. Now he's just a pure safety and is teeing off on people.
On 3rd and 1, Davis hit by Mecklenburg, and Denver spends its 3rd time out. Randy Robbins was in there too, and with 38 seconds left in the half, Denver's going to get the ball again.
Steve Atwater that time, Dick, he came ripping into that thing. Boy, has Wade Phillips done a great job with this defense. Now you'll see Atwater coming from our side of the field, showing up right there, right into the middle of it. Now, when you can add a 210-pound safety to a linebacker or a lineman that's making a stop, now you've really got some, some power.
Well, you said at the very start, Bill, what intrigued you about the game was Thurman Thomas, the yardage leader in the NFL with his receiving and rushing yards, against the 2 safeties of Denver, and Smith and Atwater have answered the ring, haven't they? O.J. Simpson, his right hand is weary, but he's finished signing all autographs the rest of the half, and he's ready to go to work at the intermission. The 38 seconds, and of course enshrined here in the memories and permanently in Buffalo. Bill Lohr. Lohr's punt. Vance Johnson at the 41. And out of bounds at the 46, and a flag is down. They may have run into more. It's Lilo Lang.
Well, that'll give them a first down, I think. It's 4th and 4.
Oh, gee. Goodness, he barely touched him.
Oh, gee.
21. The 5-yard penalty.
Now that wouldn't be called 1 out of 20 times in an NFL league game. Why that call was made, we would all wonder. No contact, no intent of injury, no attempt to damage. The punt's away.
So the Bills now with 29 seconds will be able to run out the clock, one would assume. They bring in Metzelars. That's an indication they're going to go to just a give the ball and run. In fact, they have Andre Reed playing a safety position back at the 15. Listen to the fans in Buffalo. Some are disgruntled. They're used to a lot of points and lots to go with in that Kelly-directed offense, but Marv Levy wants them in the locker room to talk over how can we beat this Denver defense. Final seconds of the half. You see Ted Marchibroda in front of Levy, and a potential head coach in another week. He's one of the leading candidates for the Indianapolis Colts.
I'm really surprised, Dick, that they didn't go for the Hail Mary kind of pass down the field. I really am.
So the end of a half. Surprising indeed. High-scoring Buffalo held to a scoreless tie by Denver.
Welcome back to the second half here at Rich Stadium. A stunning scoreless tie that certainly has some of these Buffalo Bills fans in shock. We weren't shocked when we read the news earlier this week that 15 finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame included you, Bill, and I know you were very proud when you heard that announcement. Good luck to you.
Well, thank you very much.
And of course, also the fact that they can now rename the NFC Central the Walsh Division. 3 of your former coaches, White, Holmgren, and Green, are now coaching in the NFC Central.
Well rehearsed, Dick.
Now let's go to this game itself and the field goals. The 3 opportunities to score for Denver as Treadwell first missed wide to the left from 47 yards, and then we'll see him, Bill, miss it by hitting the upright on the right side as he may have corrected himself too much. But your feeling is that the sack actually helped make this no good.
Well, if the ball's a bit off course, Dick, the further you remove yourself from the goalpost, the further the ball is going to move to the outside. So by those long field goals attempts, the ball moving off course just enough to miss it. So they've got to get in even closer now if they expect him to make it.
Any strategies at halftime?
I'll tell you, 0 to 0, the coaches are on the spot. They've got to come up with something offensively and defensively in both locker rooms, because you got 30 minutes to play, and what they had planned isn't working. They have to go to their playbook and to their plans.
All right, let's take a look now at the Keystone Light halftime statistics. And while neither team able to move the ball, Denver at least has gotten into field goal range with those 123 yards, resulting in the 3 misses from field goal range. And Buffalo actually one more first down. They had 3 first downs and only 58 total yards, as Denver had 2-1 in time possession. Over 20 minutes, the ball in control of the Broncos.
Well, those halftime stats don't look like we anticipated. 58 yards, Dick. My gosh, I can't believe it. This is the most high-powered offense and explosive offense we've seen in years, and they're held at 58 yards by Wade Phillips' defense, Denver defense. And, of course, as pointed out at halftime, the Bills' defense hasn't done that bad either. But believe me, at halftime, the decisions that were made will make the difference in this game. This is when coaches do become very, very important. Their decisions as to how to adapt their offenses to what defenses they've seen. And, of course, defensively, they know they can't get away with that blitzing down after down. One big shot to Lofton or Jackson or someone, and one team or the other is going to score.
All right, the Broncos will get the ball first here in the second half, as Brad Del Wiso, the rookie from UCLA, who is just the kickoff specialist, he may have the best job in the National Football League, will kick the deep. Derek Russell, a rookie from Arkansas, waits at the other end of the 6. Made by number 99, Hal Garner.
And these guys are intense, huh? You can see that kickoff coverage, typically in a championship game, is so intense, they just break right through blockers.
Only 1 turnover in the first half, and that was that exceptional interception by nose guard Greg Cragen of Denver, but a missed field goal by Treadwell. From the 23, Michael Young to the left, and Russell to the right. Gaston Green, and no gain there as Carlton Bailey read it well. Bailey from North Carolina replacing Ray Bentley at that inside linebacker position this year.
Well, look at that size, 245 pounds, and he runs as a 4.6. And when he knows where the ball is, he gets there. He attacked that play. There's just got to be something else in the repertoire of both these clubs to break this game open.
Bailey and Shane Conlon pushing and shoving the two Buffalo linebackers. Getting in position. Elway, good protection. Now it breaks down. And he has to dive out to the 25-yard line. Leon Seals, Dr. Sack, number 96, walking him, and a flag is down.
Well, it was all Bailey. Bailey blitzed all the way around outside everybody, and Elway had held the ball too long. And he has got a problem.
There was no flag on the play. Flag fell out inadvertently. No flag.
Elway's limping.
Ball at the 25, a gain of a couple for Elway, 3rd down and 8.
Yep.
Not a good sign as Elway flexing that knee. Gary Kubiak is the backup.
He's trying to work up in between people. Didn't see anything significant at all, but he is hurting.
May have just jammed that knee. Elway shouting to his center, hurry up here. Trying to kickstart the play. Gives to Vance Johnson, who's tripped up in the backfield.
Jeff Wright. Wow.
So a nothing series for Denver's offense and a big start for the defense of Buffalo.
Jeff Wright's going to penetrate out of that nose tackle position and just take the blockers down more than anyone else. They didn't have to make the tackle. They took away the blocking.
Buffalo is going to get about its best field position of the entire game off this kick by Horan with Clifford Hicks at his 42. Horan sends a beautiful spiral arcing deep. Look at that. What a kick over Hicks's head and still rolling. A magnificent punt by Mike Horan, waved by the Broncos inside the 5-yard line.
Why the ball wasn't fielded, I still can't explain. I don't know anybody could explain. You go all through training camp, you come to a championship game like this, and you fail to field the ball that is clearly, how far? 77 yards. Well, it was about a 65-yard punt in the air, and it wasn't fielded, and that really hurt.
It is a record kick for Horan. His longest before was 75. Hicks may be up in that win. He just didn't read it well, and that left-footed kicker sends a different action, and Hicks has been the punt return man for Buffalo only since mid-season. Al Edwards earlier in the year, so not a lot of experience in that regard. So Kelly starts from his 5. Out to Thurman Thomas, and he's knocked down at the 7 by number 91, Warren Powers, a third-year lineman from Maryland.
Well, Elway's hurting.
Flexing that right knee, and there's Kubiak, who has announced his retirement. No, I'll take that back. Elway announced his retirement in the post-game conference last week after the win against Houston.
This was to be Kubiak's last game. He may see little duty
if they lose the last game. Thomas tripped up in the backfield. It's Greg Cragen's penetration into the blockers, and Thomas tripped up for a loss.
Well, the intensity of the defensive lines are getting the jump on the offensive lines, on the blockers. It's happening on both clubs all day. Anything where you pull a lineman, the man that is following that pulling lineman is beating the blocker to the punch. That's all there is to it.
3rd down and 10, and Kelly took his team into a brief huddle. From his end zone. And out over the middle to Andre Reed, and it's Reed's first catch, and he's close to a first down. Reed, who had 81 in the season, had 4 last week, 2 for touchdowns, and not until the second half today does he get his first grab. Is it good enough for a first down?
And that was really a broken play. Kelly had to come outside, as you noticed, and Reed had to change his pattern to get open. So that was not a designed, rehearsed play. That was strictly individual effort.
They spot it right on the 14, so it's a half-yard shy of a first down and more into punt.
I think that Elway thing's the most significant thing thus far in the game. Not the non-scoring. Elway looks like he's really going to be handicapped in movement.
The 5 bruise. Here's Moore's punt, end over end, and a fair catch by Vance Johnson at the 50-yard line. So thanks to Horan's 77-yard punt, exchange of kicks all in the favor of the Broncos. Powerful Niagara Falls. Then he gave Denver about as much chance today against Buffalo is clearing the falls in a barrel. But the Broncos defense brilliant. And now an exchange of punts worth 40 yards. And Denver takes over at midfield. Elway, plenty of time, and it's deflected by Smith, incomplete. Bruce Smith.
If you recall, in the first quarter, Elway tried the same play pass, and he wanted to hit Sharp deep down the field. He couldn't get away with it a second time. You see, the pulling guard, Rydell, that time really didn't get his job done. Elway had to rush it. But the point is, they went to the special play the second time, and it didn't develop.
Smith a factor today. Although his bad knee really restricts him. He's not the great player that we saw all of last season. Draw play, and it's open for Green. Caught from behind by Cornelius Bennett. Green was going to make good yardage, and there's Bennett on his heels.
Well, if you love defensive football, this is your day. Bennett will come underneath. You see what he does? He starts outside, takes away the blocker's leverage, and then breaks back inside of him. Now, there may not be another man in the league. Maybe Derek Thomas, fast enough to do that. Go out and then come back in and make a play.
He just took tight end. Clarence Kane threw him 240 pounds, just threw him off the line of scrimmage.
Started out and then came back in and made the play.
On 3rd and 9. Elway has a man, Johnson, and he can't make the play. Clifford Hicks blindly leaping and timing perfectly to break it up.
Well, Johnson was open. They finally got a guy open, and Elway didn't get him the ball. Now, this is the way to beat these kinds of defenses. Put that ball up, and it's just underthrown enough that the recovery was made by Hicks, and you have to give Hicks credit for recovering, but he was beat bad at the start of the play.
Well, here's Horan. He's in the all-time NFL playoff book with his last punt. You think of the thousands of punts in NFL playoff history. Officially 76 yards. His last kick ties a record that goes back to 1935. He sends this one toward the end zone, and Hicks backs away as it goes into the red Bills area, and it's the touchback for Buffalo at their own 20. Timeout, 9:44 left in the third period. Still no score. The Broncos and the Bills playing for a shot 2 weeks from today at the big party in Minneapolis, Super Bowl 26. Thurman Thomas, their star running back, has 37 yards rushing today. He told O.J. Simpson at halftime that there were no corrections, no adjustments made in the offense. They're just going to try to hit a big play against a mistake in the Denver defense. What's your reaction to that?
Well, there has to be a phase of the game plan that accounts for heavy blitzing and penetrating defenses, and apparently they felt that they had the answer to it. That you would have to think there are things they can go to now, especially getting the ball to the outside receivers.
Another misdirection going to Thomas. Breaks a tackle, breaks another. And on a solo effort, he skids out of bounds 1 yard shy of a first down at the 29. Meanwhile, on the Broncos sideline, they're rubbing some of that hot ointment into the deep bruise on the thigh of John Elway.
You know, the problem with this, Dick, it could preclude a great comeback in the fourth quarter with Elway. If he cannot run and is not mobile, it takes away a lot of what he did last week. So that could affect the fourth quarter, the final minutes of a ball game, even though he can function halfway decent in the meantime.
It's 3rd and a half yard.
Safety's right up in there.
And Thomas hit, but spins forward and has the first down. Just
he made it. He barely made it.
Only the 4th first down for Buffalo today.
Now you're going to see safety coming right up into the play prior to the snap and right up on top of the ball. So there isn't anywhere to go.
On first down, Kelly. Complete to Beebe, and he's tackled immediately by Michael Brooks at the 6-yard line to pick up a 5.
Brooks did a great job of
Bruce Smith being attended to. Could be that knee would be a logical guess.
It looks like he may have a cramp because most likely he hasn't been able to work out. Consequently, he's not in physical condition to be able to do some of these things.
Off a blitz, and Kelly had to hurry. What a catch by Thurman Thomas. He was flat on his back. For a game with no score, we've had some spectacular
Here's
action.
an unblocked man, and Thomas somehow makes the catch. Now, he's not going to be able to do that that very many times. Fletcher was all over Kelly.
That's a highlight catch. Reverse to Reed with blockers. Atwater can't get him, but does get enough to push him out of bounds, but it's at the Denver 40.
Well, with everybody focusing in, funneling into the ball, the reverse was inevitable. And finally it was called, and there was a big hole. Jim Kelly makes a key block as the whole thing starts. You see Kelly right there making the block, right on the spot.
Buffalo in the scoreless game at the 40 with a first down. And now it's Thomas, and it looks as if the Bills offense becoming on track at 7 more. Thomas, who is looking for another 100-yard game. He has 4 consecutive playoff games, 100 yards. The record is 6. Another call for Thurman. And he ducks across the 30, first down.
Well, Simon Fletcher blitzed from a deepened position that time, and we could start getting a fatigue factor in that defense, Denver's defense.
Kelly shouting out the signals in the no huddle.
Now this is when the fatigue factor sets in. If he can make a series of first downs, the defense will start to suffer for it.
Oh, a blitz, and he had to unload that one to Lofton as Michael Brooks charged through.
Brooks blitzed inside, and he's getting, now Brooks is going to blitz in here. The penetration here stops Kelly from throwing that 3-step drop pattern. Here it comes. There's so much penetration right there. You see Thomas couldn't get there in time, couldn't make it in time to effectively block.
This is the deepest penetration by the #1 offense in the National Football League. The Bills to the 29 of Denver, 10th play of the drive. Hand off to Thomas. A play that Denver likes to run with Steve Sewell back in the shotgun with Elway. It gains about 4. Simon Fletcher, another tackle for Denver. 3rd and 6. Make it closer to 7. A play action by Kelly. Intercepted, Tyrone Braxton, and he steps out of bounds at the Denver 19-yard line. Braxton.
Dick, that's the problem with a no-huddle offense. You've got a critical 3rd down play, and Kelly is trying to make that call at the line of scrimmage. You'd like to think you would huddle up and decide on the best single thing to do in that situation. And that play was covered all the way by Braxton.
Back at Rich Stadium, our eye in the sky today being provided by the folks at Pennzoil Motor Oil. Well, Tyrone Braxton from North Dakota State. He was the next to last player drafted in '87. Braxton, a name familiar to Buffalo fans and O.J. Simpson. Remember Jim Braxton, the big fullback who blocked for O.J. in the '70s. He is a distant relative. But Tyrone in a Denver uniform stops Jim Kelly's drive, the 2nd interception against Kelly, and Denver has the ball at its own 19. That was the best chance for the Bills.
Well, the numbers aren't great there. 52 yards throwing the ball. Far, far short of any expectations. But one of the problems when you're having a game in which the opposing defense is really taking you apart, it's best, I think, Dick, to use the huddle, slow things down, concentrate with the coach's help on your next call. That was a wasted down and a wasted interception.
This big crowd still making it tough on Elway. A little play action. And he can't hit Shannon Sharp.
Well, John was willing to come out of there and run with the ball, even though he's got that thigh bruise. Maybe he feels that'll loosen it up.
Well, his shoulder, that kind of matches the shoulder. He has to keep throwing because of a shoulder that tightens up on him. Even between plays, he'll try to throw lightly to keep loose.
That's over 3 in the second half.
Young to the left, Russell to the right. Middle screen, it's intercepted by Bailey. Carlton Bailey, touchdown! Linebacker Carlton Bailey picking off a pass deflected, I believe, by Jeff Wright into his lap. And Bailey, an unlikely offensive hero, has the first points of this game.
Well, you have to say Jeff Wright, number 91, is really the guy that recognized the screen.
7-0 as Scott Norwood adds the extra point. Carlton Bailey, who had 1 interception in his NFL career, gets an interception for a touchdown. Be mindful of A.J. Dewey of the Miami Dolphins. In that game that was scoreless with the Jets, it was Dewey with 3 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown. Remember, 10 years ago when Miami beat the Jets.
Well, it's very clear. The first middle screen we saw in the first half worked for big yardage. But watch these defensive linemen, especially that one, recognize the screen coming up. Elway wants to throw the middle screen. I watch Jeff Wright. He says, wait a minute here. Wait a minute. He's the guy that bats the ball, and then Bailey's in a position to intercept it. So those special plays, like that middle screen, you've got to be very, very careful of repeating them.
Carlton Bailey gets the goal, the assist to Wright at the 5:28 mark of the third period. And Buffalo leads 7-0. Alton Montgomery and Derek Russell for Denver. Let's just see the impact emotionally on the Broncos of that quick turnaround. And, of course, this crowd is going to really make it tough. Alton Montgomery, second-year man from Houston. Tackle from Carwell Gardner and Clifford Hicks. Denver goes to work at the 25. A reminder, next week on Sunday, an NBA doubleheader. You'll see first the world champion Bulls and Michael against Isaiah Thomas and the beloved Detroit Pistons. And then it'll be Portland and Phoenix with superstars Drexler and Johnson. It starts at 12 noon Eastern time. A big day next Sunday to be followed, the doubleheader in basketball, by the final round of the Bob Hope Desert Classic.
Now the noise will be there. Now the crowd is in it.
Green, just nothing to buy. Jeff Wright again. Andrew Smith with a tackle.
Darryl Talley blitzed and he just broke the play wide open. Wydell tried to trap him, but Talley penetrated so hard, so fast, the play couldn't get started.
Well, both teams have really stuffed the run game of each club. This is a special NBC crowd meter. Lots of lights. It must be important because look at all the lights on that noise meter. We're getting up to thunder here. We might even get up to a producer yelling in your ear if we're lucky. Underneath it goes to Vance Johnson. And Johnson fumbles the ball. And Bailey almost got another turnover. Denver recovers. Leonard Smith made the hit, and Dave Wydell recovered.
Wydell had to really be hustling back. He just happened to be there, or the game would have really taken a very negative turn for Denver. That would have been it. Now, you've got to protect the ball in this situation. And it's a great job by Smith of dislodging it. But Wydell came from out of nowhere to save that play.
Sure looked like Bailey was going to get another big one, didn't it? Look at it, 54. Ooh, just taken away from him.
But now the running effort in that situation, you don't run laterally across the field. He needed a first down. He's trying to make a big play out of a short gain.
It is not enough for the first down on the fumble recovery, so 3rd and inches for Denver.
Well, I know where not to run. That Buffalo defense between the tackles has just been too much for Denver all day. I'd assume they'll run that play pass we've seen before and hit Sewell in the flat.
Nope. Sewell not in there. Gaston Green behind Elway.
3 wide receivers. Now, Elway typically sneaks in this situation, but they are loaded up inside.
Elway has the first down, driving straight ahead to the 35, or at least it would appear the first down. Let's wait for the mark by the officials. It is a first down.
Well, he ran his typical sneak. It was pretty evident what he was about to do, and he got lucky. He had to go way over to his right to make it.
That's Shane Conlon down for Buffalo. Conlon, the great star on the national championship unbeaten Penn State team of '87, and then a #1 pick. He's a local lad, 70 miles. Frewsburg, New York is his home from Rich Stadium. Named by his parents, who were influenced by that great Alan Ladd movie, Shane. Timeout with 3:40 left in the 3rd. Buffalo by 7. The winner to the Super Bowl in a super defensive play by Buffalo. An interception by linebacker Carlton Bailey, and a 13-yard run here in the 3rd quarter has given Buffalo the only points of the game. 7-0. Elway on first down to Green, and Green caught by Leon Seals from the backside after a pickup of almost 4.
Both teams are having a terrible job of cutting off the man on the backside of the play away from where it's going and take,
Apparently we've heard that Coach Dan Reeves has told Kubiak to stay warm just in case.
Well, those thigh bruises, as John is suffering, you can see him limping, get worse by time. You don't work those out, they get worse and worse and worse.
Green on a delay. He's to the 44-yard line, 2 yards short of a first down. Carlton Bailey, the tackler. So 3rd down and 2 as Gaston Green back into the huddle. Green, who was picked, I believe he was one of those picks in that huge 3-corner deal with Eric Dickerson, Indianapolis Colts, and Cornelius Bennett here to Buffalo, and just didn't materialize as a runner for Johnny Robinson's Rams. But what a season. Goes to the Pro Bowl with 1,037, and this his first year in Denver. He's out.
See, look at this. Elway by himself on 3rd down and 2.
He's got 4 men now to the right. And then he throws left for Sewell. And no penalty as Nate Odom's riding him hard, able to break up the play.
They had Sewell outside on Odom's. And just trying to get a one-on-one and go for everything. Now it looks as though Odom sort of hooks Sewell's arm toward the end of this play right there, but that's the way you interpret a good play nowadays. At one point that would have been very quickly called pass interference. But again, Denver looking desperate, acting desperate.
Moran with 2:07 left in the 3rd period. This one is short, and Hicks lets it bounce. And another good Denver roll, and Alton Montgomery stops it at the 11-yard line. A 46-yard, but no return by Mike Moran.
That last 3rd down call was pure desperation. It really was.
I don't know if that's Elway or with a jacket on, can't read the number.
Well, they're trying to, that muscle has a heavy contusion and is starting to tighten up on it. And typically they tighten up and there's no relief.
There's a lineup tonight on NBC. We'll give it to you in more detail later. As Sherman Thomas looking for a hole, and he just finds Michael Brooks up high, number 56, and Mike Kroll, 51. So tonight, prime time begins with Erie, Indiana, followed by a special episode of the Torkelsons. Hey, the country hotter than ever. Some of our favorites, Crystal Gale and Steve Warner. And hey, a special guest star, Merle Haggard, one of the Hall of Famers from C&W. NBC's Hot Country Nights, and that, well, get ready to shake tonight. Tremors, Kevin Bacon, Reba McEntire tonight on NBC, the movie.
Thomas is on the sideline there. It looks like he was hit in the face or in the eye or something of that nature.
That tackle was up really high. And Thomas, who has been such a durable back for Buffalo in his 4 years, and that accounts for those high numbers, so productive, helped to the sidelines.
You'd almost have to say it'll take a great defensive play by Denver to get the ball, to get it back.
Here's Kelly on the scramble. And he's out to the 20, close to a first down. Michael Brooks makes the tackle. Let's go back to the previous play as Thurman Thomas was injured.
Taking the draw play, you can see him going up inside, and there's the shot.
Brooks coming straight at him.
And it looks like his right arm got caught under the eyelid or the jaw, something, into the face.
Kelly's scramble is worthy of a first down, 10 yards. His longest of the entire year, Kelly's 12.
First and 10 from the 21.
Well, Kenneth Davis takes over, and he's a worthy backup to Thurman Thomas. Davis rushed for over 620 yards this year. This is Davis, played at TCU, right into Simon Fletcher, well supported by number 91, Warren Powers.
It appears there isn't any real outside threat by either team. In other words, they run that single back offense, and both linebackers of both teams are crowding right up into the line. There just isn't anywhere to go. And you'd think that you'd want to throw the ball in that situation.
Final minute, third period. Kelly gets away and then dumps it off to Davis. And Brooks gets him at the 29, just shy of the first down. Might be the last play of the quarter.
That was a screen pass, Dick, and it was completely covered by Denver. And Davis finally broke back to the inside and got open. You'd wonder if there wasn't an offensive lineman downfield on that play. But apparently it wasn't spotted. But it was a screen that was just gobbled up by Denver until Davis broke back inside.
Plenty of time left in the third quarter, but Buffalo does not have to run a play, so they'll let this third period run its course. A big period for the defense of Buffalo, and especially of Carlton Bailey from North Carolina. And we'll return to Rich Stadium after these messages from your local station. All right, the middle screen for Denver. Success and then disaster, Bill.
26 yards on this one. Watch that defensive front of the Bills attack. They were blindly attacking. They think they've got the sack. The ball's popped over their head to Sewell. Everyone does a fine job blocking downfield. Perfectly executed middle screen. Now later, you just can't come back to those kinds of plays. Watch Jeff Wright start and say, now, wait a minute. Oh, no, you don't. Now, he's right in the way. In fact, everybody was there. Leon Seals, Bruce Smith, all of them identified it the second time around.
On third down and about 1.5, Kelly throws complete. First down at the 45 to Pete Metzelaars, who had only 5 catches all year.
Well, they've started to take on the defense from the standpoint. Now, there's Metzelaars. No one covering him. Nobody near him. And it's a matter of faking inside, and Alton Montgomery failed to identify a man releasing right at him down the field.
Thomas is back in the game, and that's good news for Buffalo fans. That isn't good news as Greg Cragen and company greet him rudely. Cragen, who made that outstanding for a defensive lineman, may be the interception of the decade in the first period. So the defense, and from certainly not expected sources, coming up with the big plays today. Cragen for Denver, and then Bailey the touchdown for Buffalo as they try to steal it from Thomas. He's out close to midfield.
Gee, that's really a nice job by that Denver defense to take that play. Oh, John.
He's still hobbled.
Yeah, oh, yeah. if he's having that kind of problem, how is he going to be able to concentrate on what's going on downfield and avoiding the pass rushers? Looks like Kubiak's going to be our guy.
Third down, a short 6. Kelly, a lot of time. Someone must be open, and Lofton is fouled by Wyman Henderson. The flag goes down. Now, when you saw that play earlier by Odoms using his left hand all the way to ward off the defender, doesn't get the foul, but Henderson did something that did catch the eye of the same official.
From our angle, it looked very much the same. Henderson's in good position, a good chuck. Oh, gee, there's no foul. There is no foul.
There was no comparison.
Now, that's how subjective this game is.
Now, one same official who had certain contact against Odoms didn't call it, and here
penalty, first down.
That evidence is rather incriminating against that official, and this is an all-star cast of officials.
This is a tough game to officiate. There was 1 point of contact, no deeper than 5 yards by Henderson, and there wasn't a second point of contact. There couldn't have been a foul. Oh, gee.
That's Thurman Thomas being dragged down.
Simon Fletcher came off his blocker in a beautiful shot, coming straight up the field and making the stop. Again, he came inside a tight end. The outside linebackers on both teams have done a beautiful job today. And Fletcher with great physical, athletic ability.
4-yard loss in the play. Over the middle it goes, and it looked as if Kelly wanted Lofton to go the other way, tried to stop his throw, and just slipped out of his hand.
Well, the receivers didn't recognize the zone defense as Kelly did. James kept running, and it was a zone defense. You see Henderson not covering him, and you see Lofton was looking at a defender rather than setting down in the middle of people when he recognized the zone defense.
Leading 7-0 early in the fourth quarter. The Bills 3rd and 14 at midfield. And it's Kelly going deep for Lofton, and there's no penalty this time, and the same official is involved, Doug Toole. Incidental trip, apparently.
Well, Henderson tripped, and he tripped Lofton. They're not calling that now. You see their feet get tangled up right in that area, and they both go down.
But the man was beaten, the defender.
He was beaten. Doug Toole's having his work cut out for him, the side judge.
But it evened out in that regard as a high kick by Moore, but Johnson comes up to fair catch as he goes out of bounds at the 21-yard line. 12 minutes and 40 seconds left in the fourth quarter. As you surmise, Bill, that thigh muscle tightened, and Gary Kubiak, who threw only 5 passes all season, takes over for John Elway. 12:40 left. Comes out throwing and hitting. And a first down and a fumble, but as he rolled down, he was rolled down. Ricky Mateo made the catch. Carlton Bailey came up with a ball. He has been around Denver mistakes all day, that Bailey, but it is ruled down with the catch right at the yardsticks to 31.
Nice job of hooking right between zone defenders and then splitting them. He's down, then the ball comes out. You know, I had a 30-minute conversation with Gary Kubiak yesterday because of back. Oh, the ball may have been out.
I'm not sure that knee was down when that ball came out. Cornelius Bennett made the tackle. They'll review that one. See that again. See whether his knee was down. He did not have a good grip on the ball. You can see he's not really. He's out. That ball is out before he's down. That's a fumble recovered by Buffalo.
That's disaster if they use the replay. They're not going to use it. Must have called him down.
Well, the Broncos get a break there. First down at the 31, and it's Gaston Green trying to get outside. And he does have speed. The first time he's been able to get around the corner and takes out one of the Denver coaches as he gets to the 41-yard line. Bailey pushed him out of bounds.
Speaking of Kubiak, I talked to him for 30 minutes, Dick, about coaching somewhere next year. He's retiring unless he changes his mind off this game. He's had recurrent back problems. Now, he can play, but standing out on the practice field is just killing him. Now, he's a very good player, and he and I talked about coaching as a career. I talked to him about considering possibly being on the staff at Stanford University. This guy's very, very bright, and he's been a good player when given a chance.
He throws and hits Shannon Sharp, and he has come out with 3 fine plays, 2 passes and a run, all worth first down.
Well, that demonstrates just how Elway was restricted trying to play with that thigh bruise. Now, they ran that same play pass, and this time they got the tight end. Sharp really had good poise catching the ball and keeping his feet in, but the mobility now of Gary Kubiak might get Denver back into the game.
Elway's numbers in the game, the 1 interception, of course, a deflection for the touchdown by linebacker Carlton Bailey. Offside will be the call as Green has to eat it in his own backfield. It appeared that Bruce Smith had jumped ahead of the snaps. Had he been drawn off? No. The last shutout in a championship game was when Bill Parcells' Giants shut out Washington 5 years ago.
Defense, number 78.
I was sure you were going to say they shut out the 49ers. Bill Parcells, Steve, gave ours a couple of bad beatings in playoffs.
And the last AFC shutout was the one we alluded to earlier when Miami shut out the Jets on a soggy field, Orange Bowl, 14-0 10 years ago. That was the H.A. Dewey 3-interception game, 1 for a touchdown. 1st and 5, Denver trailing 7-0, 11 minutes left in the 4th.
A blitz again.
And it's Green on the draw for a first down to the 33.
All Green had was a safety man left. He broke the line of scrimmage. All the blitzers were going to be running past him, and he had a chance to make the big play. Now you'll see people blitzing inside, and then he's going to break. And here's the last hope of stopping it. There goes the blitzers. There's that big clean hole, but there's the stop.
Kelso made the tackle, but another first down as Kubiak has driven his team from the 20-yard line to the 32 of Buffalo. In what could be his last game if Denver loses. It's Green smothered for a loss of a yard as Conlon back in the game along with Darryl Talley to make the stop.
Conlon really stuffed that play. Nobody touched him.
Gary Kubiak, who was drafted in that 1983 brilliant quarterback draft. He was picked 197 places after Elway was picked number 1, and he was 183 after Jim Kelly picked 14th in 83.
He's in the shotgun now. This will be his first real shot in a passing situation to see if he can get the job done.
Oh, my! It was Darryl Talley. And that was a tally.
Well, Kubiak wanted to throw a screen pass to his right. You'll see Sewell coming this way, and he'll want to set it up with a lineman coming to the outside, but he just didn't have time to get it off. Talley was going to be there, right up inside on a blitz, and there's not a chance.
Back to the 41-yard line. The loss brings up 3rd and 19. Kubiak trying to buy time and run it. Steps out of bounds where? They mark it at the 33-yard line. Not nearly enough, as he had 19 yards required on that 3rd down play.
That's a tough one. They purposely rolled him out to his left. And if you're rolling left and somebody's chasing you, it's really hard to throw a right-handed pass. You can't get your shoulders turned back to throw accurately.
Gained of 8, so it's 4th and 11. Dan Reeves is not going to punt the ball from the 33.
That mystifies me. Dan knows what he's doing. But just to punt Buffalo down into a hole and play defense might have been good enough.
8.5 minutes left in the game. Kubiak underneath. to Michael Young. He's twisted forward at the 23-yard line. It's going to be very close, but I believe about a yard shy of a first down. Yes, first down, Buffalo. They needed 11. They got 10. Buffalo with a 7-0 lead. 8:15 remaining. Defense of the Bills talk it over with 8:15 remaining. The offense on the field for Buffalo. Jim Kelly fans abound. Imagine what it's worth to Jim Kelly with his popularity already. If he should win the Super Bowl, it'd be worth millions, literally, in endorsements. He's never played well against Denver. 2-7 touchdowns and interceptions. And today, just an average day at best. Like pitchers and hitters, defenses and quarterbacks. Thurman Thomas caught in the backfield, may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage.
You'd have to say they've shut that play down. Now, Thurman has bounced it a couple of times for 4 or 5 yards, but they are keying off Thomas and slanting that line in the direction that he goes and cutting that off. That time it looked like he wanted to cut back, and he couldn't even get that done.
Well, New England defensed Buffalo well this year, but no one shut off that offense of the Bills like the Denver Broncos. Underneath it goes to the tight end McKellar, a former small college basketball star who has a football project that's developed into a top-notch tight end. He caught 44 passes this year.
It is like a 4-year project. They started him out conveniently. He was on injured reserve to develop him from basketball. Second year, they had him in a 47-man roster. Third year, he alternated with Metzlars. Now he starts, and he's a pretty darn good player.
Big third down. Kelly gets it away, and time to McKellar. First down at the Denver 47.
That's as close as it gets. Fletcher had a sack, and Kelly got away with it. Meanwhile, Mecklenburg is trying to cover McKellar. That's a tough job.
That's a big play on 3rd and 5, and Kelly showing his courage.
There's the shot from Fletcher.
Kelly knew it was coming. He has a linebacker mentality. Thomas, again, just a couple for the star runner of the Bills. Greg Cragen, nose guard, making the tackle. And there's McKellar, who played at Jacksonville State of Alabama, Division II school, and they won the 1985 Division II basketball national championship over South Dakota State. He played in high school against Charles Barkley, so his education started early.
Well, only 2 years of football before becoming an NFL player. 1 in high school, 1 in college.
Out of the shotgun, Kelly. Steps up and hits Andre Reed. And Reed, who has really been stifled today, hustles to a first down at the 35. Only his second catch.
Well, that took all of Kelly's talent to get that done, because he was pass rushed. He had to move up in between people and finally found Reed. Reed, I'll bet he looked at 2 other people before he even had an idea whether he could find Reed or not.
Chewing up time and getting into field goal range with a 7-0 lead. Thurman Thomas. And surging to the 30 when it appeared most backs would have lost or would have been hit 2 yards shy of where Thomas went down. And John Elway painfully watching as a spectator that deep thigh bruise sidelining him in this 4th quarter. David Treadwell, if you weren't with us earlier, the place kicker of the Broncos, missed on 3 field goals that would have given Denver a lead at halftime. He missed from 47 to the left, and then he hit the right upright from 42, and then kissed it again from 37. Just inside the 30 will bring up 3rd down and about 4, and the clock runs down to the 5-minute mark.
I'm sure that Marv Levy is thinking 3 points right here. He doesn't want to lose the 3 points. The 3 points will win the ball game for him.
Scott Norwood, his place kicker,
hit his longest career field goal this season, 52 yards.
Scott's been much maligned and in some cases justified, but as of a week ago, he was pretty darn good.
3 for 3 against Kansas City. Thomas, and a must-stop play for the Denver defense, and they do.
They're just thinking 3 points.
Greg Cragen and Warren Powers made the tackle, and here comes Norwood to try. Not a gimme field goal by any means. He's kicking into a wind, not the usual Buffalo storm that you might see in January. Boy, it's really been a January thaw day. Kickoff at around 42 degrees, still pleasant. This ball, they take a timeout for Thurman Thomas at the 27, will be a 44-yard attempt approximately. Thomas shaken once again the second time in the game.
Well, they've given him a heck of a shellacking. He's a tough guy, but that Denver defense has really made him pay the price.
He, of course, will go home after the game and cheer for his close friend Barry Sanders of the Detroit Lions, who was a sophomore backup to Thomas when he started at Oklahoma State. Marv Levy and Dan Reeves on these field goals are no more than any fan of the 80,000 here, just hoping it goes through for Levy, and Reeves saying miss and give my team a chance.
Just a fair year for Scott.
He was 1 for 6 at the end of the regular season, but then hit on all 3 against the Chiefs last week. So now we have a full timeout with 4:23 to go. That much time remains in the fourth quarter. The Buffalo Bills looking for an immediate return to the Super Bowl, make amends after nearly beating the Giants last year. This man missing a 47-yard field goal on the final play that would have won it for Buffalo. This is a 44-yard try. Frank Reich to set it up. That would give what would seem almost an insurmountable 10-0 lead. It is good. Manufactured by the offense today, 44 yards off the foot of Norwood. That was a drive that began after Dan Reeves decided to go for it on 4th and 11, and the Bills took over at their own 24.
Well, Reeves, maybe prematurely, who would say, he's a great football coach, but that going for it on 4th down and long yardage sort of cost him. If they could have just punted the ball inside the 10 or around the 10-yard line, it would have been a more worthy call. But he took a shot, barely missed, and now they're in a jam.
And a big play on that drive was that pass by Kelly, when just as he was hit to the tight end McKellar on 3rd down.
Yeah, Fletcher had him dead to rights, and he barely got the ball off. But that's championship football. It's that close.
Asked Kelly about making all those millions. He said, I just want to get on the Johnny Carson show. Norwood, Del Riso, who kicks it into the goal line, and just to the 15 goes Derek Russell, well covered by the Bills. And remember, Denver used one of the timeouts to apparently ice Norwood. Our photos from Pennzoil Motor Oil from our helicopter providing some of the scenics moving to Niagara Falls.
Well, you know, if Buffalo goes on to win, to be honest with you, it's got to be heartening for the NFC, because it appeared they had an almost unstoppable offense as of a week ago that would churn out 30 or 40 points. And now we're finding that a big hitting defense with a pair of safeties that can make the big plays can stop them or hold them down.
And now 80,000 voices, and referee Hamer comes in to whistle this play off as there was something thrown out onto the field. golf ball or some small object. There it is. They'll play a left. Just deafening din. Oh, Kubiak squirts out of it and then slides safely at the 26-yard line. First down.
You know, you go the entire season not playing at all, and then you're in a championship game. You've got to give Kubiak every bit of credit.
A man who threw only 5 passes all season and now playing for a championship. And down the middle it goes to Vance Johnson. All the way to the 50-yard line before Leonard Smith and Kirby Jackson make the tackle 23 yards.
Beautiful shot. Excellent pattern. The protection was there. This is what we thought we'd see the entire game. You see him crossing against the zone defense. Nobody covering him personally. And he caught the ball between defenders.
3:18 left in the fourth quarter. 10-0 Buffalo. Thunderous noise at Rich Stadium. Johnson again to the Buffalo 43, but with those short passes, the clock keeps going, and now it approaches and passes 3 minutes left.
The problem with this is Gary Kubiak hasn't been in on this kind of drill. It's been all John Elway in week-to-week preparation. So Kubiak has to go back to training camp to remind himself of these kinds of plays.
Veteran from Texas A&M to throw. And he sees the blitz and out of bounds. No, they will not give out of bounds. The hit made inbounds and the clock continues to run as Mark Jackson, who has been injured, activated today, has his first catch, playing with a fractured wrist. He wants him to down the ball to stop the clock. But thus far, that message hasn't been heard.
Precious seconds with Kubiak not being well versed in this, getting no work at it at all for months.
Lodish was into the line of scrimmage, and that will stop the clock.
They got their clock stopped. They got that done.
Defense, number 73, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
There's a problem. Look at the ball real quickly here. See if it's moved. It moved, and he goes.
See, that is one of the systems used with all the noise as a signal to center. When he moves it, then at the counts 2, everyone silently to themselves go 1001, 1002. So at least they have some semblance. It's a way of countering the tremendous advantage the home crowd gives the Bills. Dave Wydell acquired from the Cowboys. Here's the backup center. Kubiak to Johnson. A diving catch. Does he have it? No. Time for one more play before the 2-minute timeout, and still 2 timeouts left for Denver.
Well, they're going to have to get in the end zone right away. That's pretty evident. He could have had it. Would have been a tough catch. Could have had it.
2nd and 10 for the Broncos.
But he's got to go down the field, Dick. He's got to go deep down the field now.
This is the 7th time Dan Reeves' team has gotten into Buffalo territory. No points. Where closest to the goal line to the 11. Throwing for Young and Johnson. Did someone come up with it? Yes! In the crowd, Vance Johnson at the 10-yard line, and that is the 2-minute timeout. Comes at 1:53. Another of several spectacular catches today. Clifford Hicks on him. Look at that.
Great catch. Great catch.
Denver in scoring territory. 2 to go. Welcome back to Buffalo. Our director John Gonzalez, producer John Francis with the shots. Buffalo leading 10-0. No touchdown scored by either offense today. But Kubiak has Denver at the 10. Wide open is Johnson. And he fights to get out of bounds and stops the clock at about the 2-yard line. James Earl Williams, the #1 pick of the Bills a year ago, made the tackle.
Williams made a beautiful tackle. He had one-on-one with a lot of room between both people. This is a heck of a tackle. Watch this. Feet moving. Just does a nice job of keeping his balance. Often that would have been a touchdown with that receiver.
They spot it at the 3-yard line. They can make a first down without a touchdown. Draw to Kubiak, and the quarterback is at the goal line. And now touchdown is the call.
That was an excellent call. Nobody was there to stop it. They were all busy covering. Excellent call. Kubiak has done a great job. I don't think he'll retire now.
What a drive engineered by this backup Kubiak, the veteran.
Well, I tell you what, I think really John was hurting so bad trying to continue to play. And he was slow to the point that he couldn't really function well. And maybe the move was made a little bit late.
Treadwell hits it down the middle on the extra point, and now as he goes to the sidelines, Dan Reeves and Treadwell must be thinking about those 3 missed field goals. Off the bench, Gary Kubiak playing more in this championship game than he did all season long and delivering 8 for 9 for this 30-year-old who says he'll retire at the end of this season because of those back problems. 2 timeouts remaining for Denver, and Kubiak has just taken the Broncos 85 yards in 8 plays for the first touchdown by an offense today to make it 10-7. Now with 1 minute 43 seconds left, the onside kick. Treadwell has it teed up. Look at all those Broncos way about 20-yard run-up to try to get some speed going and then time the kick so one of them could get to it. It's scramble, and Denver says they have it. Let's see.
Yes. Denver's got it. Boy, did they execute that well. That whole group timed it just right to be crossing the line as the ball was kicked. Now, the timeout they used earlier, I bet they wish they had it back. Look how that's timed. And that third bounce of the ball is the one you're always working on, especially on this kind of surface. They got a shot.
Steve Atwater recovers at the Denver 49. So now a field goal would send this one into overtime, possibly, with 1:38 to go. Plays you practice from almost the first week of training camp. And Denver executes here for a championship. Super Bowl on the line. And a backup quarterback, Kubiak to Sewell. He fumbled the ball. And recovered by Buffalo. Sewell hit, and it appeared to be Darryl Talley was in on the play. No question about the fumble.
Did he catch it, Dick? I guess he did, didn't he? You'd be interested to see if they're going to examine this play, a championship game, whether they'll take a look. I guess not.
Kirby Jackson credited with a fumble recovery at the 44 of Buffalo, and now Kelly will just protect that ball. Kenneth Davis behind him. Denver undoubtedly to spend the 2 timeouts. And this is hitting right to the game's end. That was Atwater. Timeout, but only 1 remains for the Broncos.
Well, Sewell was thinking of running before he really had the ball. It's just one of those unfortunate things, but a great game, Dick. A great championship game. In a sense, some loosely played execution-wise, but the intensity of this ball game has been magnificent.
And for a fan, and this is, I know Buffalo fans, that was a great play, and for Denver, a disastrous play. For fans, it denied Kubiak the chance at the Elway kind of drama, the backup announcing his retirement, coming into the game, and perhaps giving his team a chance. It would have been interesting without that fumble if Kubiak could have positioned them for a field goal to tie it. But that aside, Buffalo's defense, if they win today, will have won it. Hard to believe that the #1 scoring touchdown, Washington scored more points, scored more touchdowns, the #1 offense in the league, Buffalo, shut out other than a field goal. The touchdown coming on Bailey's interception. The linebacker of the Bills. Davis, they're trying to force the fumble. They have their final timeout called. Nope, haven't called it yet. Clock is still running. So Dave Treadwell, who had 3 chances and fumbled by Sewell, obviously in a very emotional state as his teammates try to rally him.
Well, they came close to pulling it out. They really did. That onside kick, they were in excellent field position. Just one more, about 15 yards more. If they could have eaten it up, they'd have had their 3 points.
82,272, and they're all standing here at the stadium. The final minute of play. Davis smothered right at the 50, and now Denver calls its final timeout with 29 seconds left. And the Bills apparently will have to punt. We'll take this timeout.
Just the enthusiasm of this area for this team, the loyalty when the team wasn't doing well.
You'd have to go to Denver to see something like it. Here's the punt as they go after Moore, but he gets it away beautifully. No one back for Denver. And it rolls into the end zone. And clock stops with 17 seconds. We'll have a complete post-game report for you. The Old Spice gang will be there with both locker rooms, the comments. There'll be some highs and lows again. And Denver now with only some desperate chances as Bill Parcells warms up his vocal cords. 10-7. Denver's defense was true. Many criticized it, a soft schedule. They proved to the NFL today that this was one of the best defenses in football. And Buffalo, enough character.
And the home field to Elway, and then Elway continuing to play in a limited way really cost Denver.
Kubiak
got to get it down the field, throw it.
And out of bounds quickly goes Michael Young, but that won't do it. And Kubiak hit as he throws, gets up slowly. 8 seconds left.
Well, they're trying to get well outside along the sideline and then throw the ball, but he's really not making it. He may have a right-handed problem here.
And of course, he doesn't have the strength of arm of Elway, and they're here where you're so desperate.
He looks like it's his right hand. You just got to get the ball up now, get well down the field. First the last play.
Downfield to Johnson, but he's in the field of play, and that will do it. Buffalo Bills return to the Super Bowl. Terrific football game, wasn't it?
It was a great game, and the lack of execution, the misplays, demonstrated the intensity of the game. People got unraveled. They couldn't even think clearly with the pressure on both clubs. So I think both defenses played beautifully, and I think Kubiak did a fine job. Again, I say the Elway's injury and then his continuing to play really damaged Denver's chances.
You saw Carlton Bailey was in the right place at the right time for that deflection by teammate Jeff Wright on a middle screen and ran in 13 yards for the only Buffalo touchdown that was the difference in the game today. 3 missed field goals by Treadwell will be digested with considerable difficulty in the Mile High City. And Scott Norwood hitting on his only chance, 44 yards to win it 10-7.
You know, when you talk the Super Bowl, this may help the Bills. They'll be that much more intensely involved. They're certainly not going to be overconfident going into the Super Bowl.
Final score, 10-7. You've been watching NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League. Now stay tuned for the Old Spice post-game report. We're back at Rich Stadium in Buffalo, where they continue to celebrate. Buffalo has again earned a trip to the Super Bowl. And the Keystone Beer people are proud to salute Cornelius Bennett of the Buffalo Bills as today's player of the game. Keystone Beer, great bottled beer taste in a can. And coming up next on our post-game report, we'll visit both locker rooms, get the comments from the players who struggled in this intense defensive battle. Back to Rich Stadium in Buffalo. Well, the Buffalo Bills with their high-scoring attack averaging 44 points in their last 3 playoff games have kind of taken defense away from what we expected when you come down to championships. But this was the kind of game, hard-hitting, all defense, that would have reminded old-timers of great games of past. In fact, Gary Kubiak, coming off the bench, had more passing yards today than either Jim Kelly or John Elway. A remarkable stat that reflects the activity today. And now to get their comments, let's go down to Will McDonough and Bill Parcells.
Dick, thank you very much. I'm here with Bill Parcells, and I guess you've illustrated a couple of plays for us. Why don't you tell us what you see in these plays?
Well, Will, the middle screen wound up being the key play of the game for Denver and Buffalo today. The first one here you see, Denver has success on it. Jeff Wright over rushers. They get it to Sewell. He makes a good gain. Well, you know, when you have success with a play like that, you normally come back to it, and that's what Denver did. Now here, Wright, as you see at the nose tackle position, kind of smells this play out about halfway through the rush. He just puts the brakes on. Elway's already in the throwing motion right here. And as he throws it, Wright's able to get his hands up, deflect it. And, of course, Carlton Bailey's there to pick it up. And that's the play that really turns the game for Buffalo.
You know what I thought really happened in this ball game, Bill? You know, Kelly and Elway in the past have been great runners. I think both of them were hurt. I think Kelly's knee is worse than people say. Elway got hurt early, and I think this really helped the two defenses, not to take anything away from, but help them to play a better football game.
Well, I think both defenses were valiant today, and really, you know, everybody talks about offense all year long, but when it comes down to these kind of games, your defenses have to show up. Both teams did today. I think Denver was valiant in defeat. They missed a couple opportunities the first half, but to Buffalo's credit, they took it when they had the opportunity.
Bill, thanks very much. Let's now throw it back to Dick Enberg and Bill Walsh. Dick?
All right, Will, and of course standing by, Bob Costas will be in the Buffalo Bills locker room, and we'll also visit with O.J. Simpson. He is with the Denver Broncos. So stay with us. Post-game coming right up.
Well, I'm standing there with Coach Dan Reeves. I mean, what do you say to your players? Is there any consolation to come into a place like this with this noise, play so well, and not win?
Well, first of all, O.J., congratulations to the Buffalo Bills. I hope they represent the AFC extremely well, because I'm tired of the streak the NFC's got going. But I'm extremely proud. I mean, we did everything we could to win the ball game. Our defense held them to 3 points, and that's the #1 offensive team in the National Football League, and it's no consolation. I mean, to come up and play well, we fully expected to win. We're disappointed that we didn't win, but you know, we gave it everything we got, and when you come up short, you just got to wait till next year now.
You were very successful once Kubiak came into the game. Did that change what you were trying to do offensively when he showed up?
Well, no, it really wasn't. And, you know, John got hurt the first series of the second half, and, you know, maybe he wanted to go, and he's so competitive and everything, and felt like he was going to give it one more shot. But then it just got to where he couldn't move around, and so we made the change. And Gary did a tremendous job. And, you know, it's just unfortunate we give up the turnover, and that turnover turns into a touchdown. But that's the way football is, the way life is, and we just got to move forward.
Any second thoughts about, you know, 8 minutes into the fourth quarter, 11 yards for fourth down, 11 yards for first down, going for it then?
Well, no, not really, because I felt like our defense was playing well enough, and sure, we could have maybe pinned them down a little bit closer, but we were out of field field goal range. The wind was in our face there, and we had to get out around the 25-yard line for a field goal, so we felt like we had to go for it, and we just came up a little bit short.
Well, congratulations. 5th place to the championship game. You got to be proud of that.
Okay, thanks.
We're going to go to Bob Costas over in the winner's locker room.
All right, Juice, thanks very much. I'm standing with Neil Austrian, the president of the National Football League, and he is holding the Lamar Hunt Trophy, which is emblematic of the championship of the AFC. This is the only owner the Buffalo Bills have ever had. Ralph Wilson, he's been with them since the early days of the AFL back in 1960. Marv Levy, the head coach, going to the Super Bowl for the 2nd consecutive year. Bill Polian down at the end, the general manager. And Neil, you take it away.
Ralph, on behalf of the National Football League, it gives me great pleasure to present to you the Lamar Hunt Trophy, symbolic of the winners of the American Football Conference. It's unique. You're a founding member of the AFC. The Bills are one of the first teams in the league, and this is the 2nd year in a row that you've won the trophy. I'd like to offer you, Marv, and Bill congratulations to the entire league and wish you the very best in the Super Bowl.
Mr. Wilson?
Thank you, Neil. You know, I'm standing here on an elevated platform. Actually, there's about 65 or 70 players and coaches that should be up here on this elevated platform, and I should be standing down there. On behalf of everybody in the Buffalo Bills, Neil, I accept this trophy with pride for the fans of Buffalo and for the organization. Thank you very much.
Let's move over and have a word here with Marv Levy. Marv, you're happy to go back, and it's a tremendous achievement, but I think it's fair to say this is a scenario no one envisioned.
I guess not. We've been a high-scoring team, and the Broncos, a good defensive team. I read where they said they felt they'd have to score 30 points to win. It turned out differently. I thought it was a great football game, and maybe people who want points only wouldn't think so, but it was a great, hotly contested game.
What did they do defensively to shut you guys down? No offensive touchdown.
No, and really, they are a good defensive team, the #1 rated defensive team in the American Football Conference. They didn't play anything different, anything new. They just played hard and aggressively, and we're very successful in it. I was very proud of our defense today, too, however.
What happened when Kubiak came in? Did he do something differently than what you had prepared for in obvious anticipation of Elway, or was he just hot?
No, Bob, he was hot. He also went to an open formation, their 2-minute drill. We were in our 2-minute defense, and he completed some passes. Some of them, he had a great catch across the field from me. I think it was Vance Johnson. I'm not even sure, which helped keep the drive alive. But I have to give him a lot of credit. A tough situation to come in and operate as effectively as he did is really something.
Lastly, do you savor it at all, or do you go watch Detroit and Washington and begin thinking about the Super Bowl?
No, we'll savor it. We'll get that Detroit-Washington film in the exchange. I might see a little of it, but I mean, I won't run there as a coach to look at it. I'll see some of it, mostly as a fan. We're going to enjoy it tonight and then get ready to go to work tomorrow.
Congratulations, Marv. On to Minneapolis.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll step aside here for just a moment in the Buffalo locker room. We'll come back with more interviews right after this.